You are now watching Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV. Chill! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, one fourth of the premier voice podcast, and your host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Welcome to another new episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV, exclusively on YouTube. Hope all is well. And on today's episode, we have a special guest. She is a certified personal trainer. She have a podcast show called Redefining Wellness Podcast. And we got Miss Nique in the building discussing her podcast show, her health journey, and many more. This was a really, really dope conversation. I can't wait for y'all to check out this episode. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
Hey, this is Nique from the Redefining Wellness podcast, and you're listening to the Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Yes, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I got my special guest. She is a certified personal trainer. She is a podcast host, and she got a podcast show called the Redefining Wellness Podcast. We got Nique in the building. Miss Nique, how are you doing?
I am great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good, and I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. And I definitely really like your show.
Oh,
And
thank you.
And it's crazy because I discovered your show on Threads, and I heard your show, and I'm like, yo, I really like her show. I like her intro. I love your intro. I can hold your intro or you get me hype. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, but of course we're gonna dive more into the podcast. But first thing first, we'll ask you some icebreaker questions. So I'll ask you, where are you from?
I am from gorgeous Prince George's, Pretty Girls County, as I think most people know it, but Prince George's County, Maryland.
Dope. So how do you describe yourself as a person? Give me 3 words.
Outgoing, motivating, and I would say quirky.
Good choice. Those are good choices. What is one thing that brings you peace?
Ooh, I'm a really simple person. A nice cup of coffee, a nice hot cup of coffee, and just putting my feet up and just, yeah.
Okay, that's always definitely a good choice. That's definitely a good choice. And what is in your headphones right now? It could be an album, a song, or even a podcast. What's in your headphones right now?
I have a lot of things that are in my headphones right now.
And I know you do talk about this a lot on your show about what type of music you listen to too.
So actually recently I've been getting a little bit more into an artist called Duran Bernard. Music T. He just came out with an album called Bloom. So I've really been listening a lot to him. Podcasts that I've been listening to, I probably listen to a podcast every day of the week, but one that I think really gives me a lot of joy is it's called the That Was Us podcast. And it's literally just a rewatch podcast of the show This Is Us. And yep, so it's Sterling K. Brown, Mandy Moore, and Chris Sullivan, the guy that played Toby on the show. And they just go through like all the ins and the outs of the episodes. I look forward to that show on Tuesdays.
I ain't gonna hold you. This Is Us was definitely a really dope show.
Yes.
Now I kind of want to rewatch it now because
yes.
That was an amazing show. I'm not gonna hold you. That was an amazing show. So now let's try to get a little into it. So let's talk about your beginning of life. So how were you growing up?
I think most people would probably say that I lived a little bit more privileged for I would say a Black girl growing up in the 90s and the early 2000s. I'm from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And if anybody knows about PG County, PG has held like the ranking of like the richest Black county in America. So there was a lot of opulence around me. But at the same time, with that opulence, there was a lot of one thing that we have here is like trying to keep up with the Joneses. So you have to have a particular look, a particular walk, a particular talk, all of those things just to say that you are from this area. So while I had a great childhood, like we went on family vacations, I went to summer camp and, all of those things, it didn't, I was not remiss from the typical struggles that I think any American teenager goes through when you're going in through that space of adolescence.
I mean, I could relate. 'Cause I also done a lot as a kid, summer camp and stuff like that too. So I definitely could relate to that as well. Also, I mean, I didn't have the great childhood, but yeah, I know exactly how you feeling. So, how all that you've been through made you the person that you are today?
Um, all that I've been through, it's made me, and I've have a love hate with this word. It's made me very resilient. I've experienced a lot of things so far in my adulthood that I think it would probably make most people crumble. Um, but it's made me very, very resilient, but it's also made me very free thinking. And also to be in a space where I have learned how to take up as much space as I can and not feel ashamed for taking up that space, just because growing up for me, I was really taught like I couldn't be the boldest and the loudest and the most whatever. And I've come to a place where that is my superpower of being the boldest, the loudest, the most of a person. Um, and I've learned that it's okay for me to take up as much space as I want to. And so I help other people feel comforted when they're in my space. I'm like, baby, take all the space you want. I'm not here to put boxes or reins around you. Just don't do that to me.
I feel you. I feel you. And you're doing an amazing job. You're doing an amazing job. And we're about to talk about when you think that you do now, and you are a certified personal trainer.
Mhm.
So, what inspired you to get into that?
So what's funny is that I did not think that I was going to be doing what I'm doing. I always thought that I was going to be doing something a little bit more in psychology. So I wanted to go to school to become a sex therapist.
Mm.
So I thought I was going to do that. But then my mother was like, my mother is also Jamaican. So she was like, oh, no, not one. She wasn't having it. Like she was sucking her teeth, all of the things. She was like, a sex therapist, a sex therapist. What? Uh, uh, like just, So I went to school, went away to college, and I thought I was going to do like athletic training or become a physical therapist. But one of the things with becoming a physical therapist or an athletic trainer, you have to take a class called gross anatomy. And that's when you work on like the cadavers so that you can see and feel and touch the muscles and understand like the movement. I wasn't trying to do all that. I wasn't trying to do all that. So I ended up doing the exercise science program, and that was more geared towards working in what's called phase 4 cardiac rehab. So that's when people have had like strokes and heart attacks. They go through phase 1 through 3 in the hospital or, in a very controlled environment. Phase 4 is more so, okay, I think I'm ready to go back out into the world. Help me to strengthen my muscles and to get me in a space more so like occupational therapy, essentially. So then I ended up going into that space and I started working in corporate fitness. So I managed wellness accounts for companies. And then COVID happened. And then I started working for Orange Theory and I started my own business. And here we are today.
And I'm not gonna hold that's really dope. That's really dope. And you doing amazing things. So keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
So why is it important to take care of your health? Why is it important to take care of your health? And if you could give my audience one tip on health, what would that be?
It's your reasoning for why you want to be healthy. It's not a one thing that everybody should, this is why you need to be healthy. Your reason and my reason for being healthy, it's two completely different things because we have two different walks in life. One of the things that I cannot stand is when you're on social media and you see these fitness, I wouldn't even say fitness gurus, but like these fitness influencers, or people that don't have these credentials, and they're like shaming you on the internet of you should be like this and you should be focused on this. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
I have clients that I work with that are mothers. I have clients that I've worked with that are, that have come out of surgery, that all kind of different things. So the reason why they're trying to be healthy is not the same for me, who is a single childless woman that has not needed to have any major surgery, knock on wood. You know what I'm saying? So your reasoning of being healthy is your own. For me, I choose to be healthy because I want to have a life of longevity. I don't want to be
Yeah.
the reason that I am incapacitated, or I don't have mobility, or that I can't have a particular quality of life that I feel like I should have, while I'm here rolling on this side of glory. But one thing that I think I really want people to know when it comes to your health, your fitness, your wellness, your nutrition, it is not a one size fit all, one magic pill. It's not a one trick pony. It is a lifelong decision to be committed and to have a level of consistency that you're able to hold on to, so that you're able to maintain this thing that is called wellness. Too many times people look at health or fitness from that quick fix, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
only doing it so I can fit into this dress. I'm only doing it so that I can look a particular way so that I can achieve this thing. And then once you achieve that thing, most of the time people stop, or they get to a particular weight, they stop. They get to a particular dress size, they stop. And then we wonder why we're constantly on this yo-yo pattern of weight going up and down and all of these things. You have to remain consistent in the game, so that one, you don't fall backwards, but also so that you don't have to go through these extreme measures of trying to lose weight. And one of the things that people don't talk about with yo-yo dieting, it's not simply doing the grapefruit diet, or doing this or doing that. It's that constant gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. That's what yo-yo dieting is. So we have to get ourselves to a space where we stay between that like 5 and 10 pound range. And that's your thing. But having this excessive roller coaster, that does a lot to your body. And for women, it very much affects our hormones. So that's a big thing I want people to understand, is that fitness, health, wellness, nutrition, it is a lifelong thing. It is something that you are consistently doing, that you have that pattern, that, you do have some adjustments, life does happen, you know what I'm saying, which may
Yeah.
cause you to fall off a little bit, but you have a bigger picture in mind, versus for aesthetic reasons, or versus for receiving something. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get sucked into that vacuum of, I'm only doing it so that I can receive something. Whereas the thing is what you can put back out into the world once you have reached a level of consistent health and wellness.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I was dealing with that. We just talked about the yo-yo effect, the up
Mm-hmm.
and down. I was dealing with that since all the 2020s,
Mm-hmm.
and then I called last year. Something happened. A health scare, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
happened with me. My cholesterol got OD high, so I
Mm-hmm.
started to take my health and fitness way more serious. Change my
Mm-hmm.
diet, working out every day,
Mm-hmm.
day and night, and then I lost like probably like 45 to 47 pounds between
Mm-hmm.
last year to now. So yeah, I completely get it, and yeah, that's a good tip. Thank you for sharing
Yes,
that. Thank you for
of
sharing that.
course.
So, as you know, we you do have a podcast show called the We Define and Wellness Podcast. But before we dive into the podcast, what inspired you to start a podcast?
Um, I feel like at the time when I started my first podcast, my first show was called the Uniquely Fit Podcast, and it was everything about fitness. And I really wanted to start that because I wanted to document at the time my weight loss journey. When I had started that podcast, I had lost maybe about like 60 pounds by that time. So I wanted to
Oh, wow.
talk about all of the different things that I did. I wanted to talk about the debunk a lot of myths about some diets and the things that people think that they know when it comes to fitness and nutrition. And I'm like, you actually don't know anything. You're not, no, they're not a professional. So just to debunk some stuff. Then once again, COVID happened and I, kind of lost my mojo with that. And I think a lot of people kind of lost their mojo around that COVID season.
Yeah.
And so when I started the Redefining Wellness podcast, I knew I wanted to do a show where I interviewed people, but also a show where I could really talk about what does it really look like to be well in the midst of not just storms, but in the midst of our sunniest of seasons. Because sometimes we don't even, people always talk about, oh my gosh, I was depressed, so I gained weight. Oh my gosh, work got busy, so I gained weight. But we don't even talk about the people that, oh my gosh, life is so awesome right now. I have the
Yeah.
happy weight, people don't always know how to navigate even through that. So I really wanted to start that show to really talk about how every single day you can make a choice to redefine what wellness looks like for you. And it's a daily journey. It's not this big thing that people think it is. It's literally making one small change in your day that can optimize your wellness.
And like I said, I do listen to your show. I really do enjoy it. Definitely keep killing it.
Thank
I think
you.
this is one podcast show everybody definitely should listen to, especially if you want to know more about health and stuff like that. So thank you for doing the podcast.
Thank
Keep killing
you.
it. And to all my audience, where they can listen to your podcast, where they can listen to it.
You can listen to the podcast on all podcast streaming networks.
Right, there you go. There you go. So, as a podcaster so far, what have been your biggest challenges?
Oh man, I think comparing myself to other shows or shows that may appear to be bigger, even shows that I listen to, that have been around for like years, like over 10 years. That's my biggest challenge is like feeling like, damn, why I don't got 10,000 downloads a week, so like
Yeah.
that. So that's probably my biggest challenge is that.
I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. I be doing that sometimes too. Even though I do a lot, but I'll be wondering myself like, dang, how come my show not growing as it should, or how come it not as big as it should? I be having those at sometimes, but sometimes when you know you're doing good, just
Yes.
those comparison things start to go away. You don't worry about what
Yeah.
other people doing no more. And
Yeah.
worry about pretty much worry about what you're doing. So
And
yeah,
that's what I try. I try. Lord knows I try. I
I
be
feel you.
trying.
I get it. I get it. So, what's the goal for your podcast, and what message you want audience to get out of your podcast? I mean, I think I probably know the obvious answer, but
My goal for my show, of course, I would love to sit on a stage of like a panel of like podcast hosts of a particular genre or whatever. I would love to be a little bit more like a wider reach, you know what I'm saying, with my message. And it's just the biggest goal is that you can redefine your wellness. It does not have to look the way that social media says. And one thing that I was going to actually post on social media this week is when people be talking about, here's what I eat in a day to help me lose 50 pounds, they're lying. They're lying. They're lying.
Mm.
I'm gonna bleep myself. Them is lying.
Yeah, I get. I mean, that's true. That's true. So I know you do have guests on your show,
Mhm.
but if you had to interview anybody in the world right now, who would be your 3 dream guests to interview?
Oh my gosh, who would I love to interview? So I actually do have like a wish list. It's actually not even famous people. It's regular schmegular people that are on the internet. There is this girl. She's not a brand ambassador for Trader Joe's. She should have been though. But her page was called Black Girls in Trader Joe's. And she would come up with these great dishes and she would give lots of great recommendations. I really love her. I would love to have her on my show. If I were to pick like a celebrity-ish type of person, it would be like a Tiana Taylor. I would love to interview her just because first of all, body T, the body is T.
Right.
But I would love to just ask her, do you ever get flack for your body, and people kind of ridiculing you because, or sometimes they belittle her. I'm reading them comments because her genetics are just the way that they are. Like Tiana said, she was like, I be eating Doritos. Like, I eat the things, you know what I'm saying? So I would love to interview her. But another, like, not super duper famous, I've always wanted to interview. There's this girl that I really enjoy. Her Instagram handle is Healthy with Kelsey, and she is a body inclusive personal trainer out of, I believe she's out of like Vancouver, Canada. And I've been following her for a couple of years, and she's been really inspirational. And she's kind of like myself. She was very small at one point in time, and she gained weight. I mean, people gain weight, but when she talks about, like, the ridicule that she experiences, but then she also talks about how people really celebrate her and really enjoy, the content that she produces and the honesty and the vulnerability that she gives. I really appreciate that. And then I have to do one honorable mention. Ashley Pryor, she is the rowing instructor on Peloton. She is the only plus size girl on Peloton, first plus size girl on Peloton, and she's a Black woman. I would love to interview her.
I think I know who that is. I think I've seen her before.
Mm-hmm.
But those are good choices. But anything possible. Anything definitely possible. You
Yes.
I appreciate you definitely get them on your show. Another thing you talk about on your show, not only you only talk about, health or even interview other people, you also talk about dating on your show.
Yes, I do.
So in your opinion, how do you feel about dating in this generation, and how does it affect you in your life?
Dating in this generation, it's it's an interesting journey. Because it's not like when our parents were dating. There weren't as many distractions. You didn't have so much reach to someone across the country or across the world. And I think what has happened with dating, it has made people feel like you more popping than what you really are. It makes you think that you have more options than what you really have. Like, no, my guy, you're not that interesting. Like, no, girlfriend, you are not a bad bitch. Like, please relax. So I think it's made, in this generation, it's made people really feel themselves a little bit more than what a lot of people really should. And also, there's a lot of unrealistic expectations of the type of partner that you should have. Not everybody is supposed to, if we're looking energetically, not everybody is supposed to have a high volume man. Just like not every man is supposed to have a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's just, if we look at the statistics, if we look at energy exchanges, that's not how this life works. Like, and I think too many people think, because of what they see on the internet, they feel like that's what their real life should be. And it's like, in actuality, I need y'all to touch some grass and actually look at these couples when you watch them. Like, I do a lot of people watching. So when I see when I see people out, they're walking, they're holding hands, they're regular schmegular ass people. Like, it's okay to date a regular schmegular ass person. It is okay to date a welder. It is okay to date a guy that works on the supply chain, or that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why. It's the internet. It's the internet. Yeah. It's the internet. It's because somebody got on the internet and started showing off their man or showing off their girl. And then everybody's like, oh, well, I deserve a girl like that. Oh, I deserve a man like that. Get out of here.
I agree with you 100%. I feel like the image of the internet, people see what they see, they want that. So they try to hide their expectations so they could get that. And it's very unrealistic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The end of generation, really bad, but I feel hopeful, I guess. I feel hopeful, but it just. But I know you spoke about this a little bit, but as you know, we are in a pandemic. I guess the way, I mean, we in something now. We in something.
Yeah, we in something.
we in something. So, how did the pandemic affect you as a whole, and what have it taught you?
So the pandemic, it taught me how to pivot. I had got laid off from my job. Like maybe we went into lockdown in March. I got laid off from my job by Memorial Day. And so I took like a month off. I lied, I didn't take a month off. I maybe took like 3 weeks off. And then I applied for another job. Because here in the DC area, gyms started opening back up. So that's when I first found Orange Theory. But also at the time I was in a relationship, and it really showed me like, wow, this is how people like, this is what this living together thing is like. And it taught me like it taught me things from, this is what you should be receiving from a relationship, this is what you should not be receiving from a relationship. But it also taught me too that life has no limits. There is no limits to what you can experience. There is no limits on what you can receive. So as long as you believe that there is no limits to this life, there's truly no limits. Like, who really says you can't do something? Man is telling you, and I mean man, like man, fleshly man is telling you that you can't do something, you can't have something. COVID taught me, do what the fuck you want to do. Like, and it's going to be okay. Take that moment to step out on faith, because who said you can't do it? And also not to be so caught up in other people's insecurities when it comes to you stepping out on that faith, because they're telling you you can't do it because they couldn't believe that they could do it. That's what I've learned. When people tell you, oh, well, that's not possible, you think it's not possible for you. It's possible for me if I believe it's possible. So that's the biggest thing I think COVID taught me, is there's no limit to this life. And we have to stop treating it like you have to live in this box, you have to live in this space of containment, because it's like, oh, I can't, they said I can't do it. Who the fuck is they? So that's what it taught me.
No, I agree with you 1%, because one, we were dealing with a lot. Two, people, a lot of people show their true colors in the pandemic. Like people who throw it down for you, they doubt you and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a lot during that time. But pandemic, we dealt with a lot with this pandemic. Of course, we had to reach the election, and this Mr. Not My President, whoever he is, whatever. Yeah, and we deal with a lot of mental health. So
yeah.
So why is mental health so important? And what challenges have you been dealing with mental health?
Mental health is very important, and I think it's in so many different facets. I think, first of all, with us both being black folks need to really take mental health a lot more seriously and do that inner work to kind of understand, like, dig deep. Why did I feel like this in my childhood? Why did that happen? But one of the things I tell my clients is that you can lose all the weight you want, babes, but if that mental is not there, you're not going to stay on that track that you need to stay on track with. Mental health is important so that you can live that life limitless. You know what I mean? If you have those barriers in your mind because you have trauma that's clogging it up, or you have these triggers, you have these things, you're not really living a life. You know what I'm saying? And I know for myself, if we're looking at it from the space of like how it connects with your wellness, your health, for me, I didn't realize that I was an emotional eater. I didn't realize that I was coping with my sadness and my emotions by eating. But again, and like I mentioned earlier, when coming from a space where my voice, my emotions were contained in a box, I wasn't allowed to fully express myself, express how I feel. So I ate. And then when I ate, I became a hoarder with my food. So I would hide food in my room. I would hide food under my bed, under my pillows, like things like that. And I didn't realize until I got older, because I remember thinking Black girls don't eat their feelings. Black girls aren't emotional eaters. Like, Black girls don't get eating disorders. We're Black. We don't have them issues. We actually do. We actually do. And I did not get a tackle on my emotional eating, which started when I was at the age of 8. I didn't get a hold of it until or even address it until I was about 32. And I'll be 36 in like 2 months. So I'm like 4 years into actually recognizing that I emotionally eat, and I have like a plan, like a better coping plan now so that I don't resort to that, because my emotional eating can get so bad to the point where I eat so much that I get sick, and then I start
Yeah.
to purge because I've eaten so much. So I would go on these binges when I was sad. And so I still have these moments where if something happens and I'm really, really upset, I may feel in myself, go to Chipotle. Or I may feel, go to Cinnabon and just let's go, girl. But I'm able to be like, nah, because I'm feeling my feels. So let me
Yeah.
express my feelings. Like, let me call a friend. Let me have this moment. But mental health has to be taken so much more seriously versus us being like, well, that's just the way I am.
Yeah.
No, that's not, doesn't make it right. So
Hmm.
we have to understand why we're the way that we are. Why do we get triggered by these certain things? Why do we keep ourselves in certain situations? That is a mental health thing. Like,
Yeah.
so many of us stay in these situations in our health, in our relationships, in our jobs, in our finances, because the underlying root of it is that we need some help mentally with getting through roadblocks, unlearning certain beliefs, unlearning, breaking up with those insecurities, actually finally making peace with certain things that happen to us and not living in it. That's one of the things my therapist always says. You can have your emotions, you can have your feelings, just don't settle in it. And sometimes it's hard, but it's a season. It's literally a season. And I've gone through depression, like getting out of my last relationship. I didn't realize how long of depression I was in at the very end of that relationship until maybe like, let's say sometime last year. Like, I didn't understand why I was moving the way that I was moving. And I didn't realize it's because I was depressed. And
Yeah. Yeah.
what a lot of people think depression looks like, they think depression is you're sitting in a room in the dark under a blanket and you're
Yeah.
listening to Phyllis Hyman. That's not what depression is.
Hmm.
Depression can be I'm getting up and I'm going to work every day. Depression can
Yeah.
be I'm doing stuff. I can still be
Yeah.
doing
Exactly.
stuff and be
Hmm.
really fucking depressed. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And not know
Yeah.
what to do. And I think unfortunately the generation before us, they don't understand that. I
Oh. Yep.
remember
Yep.
one situation that really lives very deep within me is there was a beauty queen. I want to say this was in 2021 or 2022. Chelsea Christ, Black girl. I want to say she was like Miss something. God, I can't remember. But she unalived herself. And so it was due to her mental health. Like, she
Oh.
had been showing signs and things like that. And I remember I was talking to my father. My father called me and he was just like, do I just don't understand how somebody that has everything, she's gorgeous, she has this, she has that. And I said, that doesn't mean anything, Dad. Like,
Yeah.
you never know the pressure that that girl was under to maintain that. That's a level of depression. Trying to
Yeah.
stay at the
Yeah.
status quo or to live on this pedestal that people put you on, that can lead to such a depression.
Yeah.
And so I remember him asking me, he was like, do you ever have thoughts of that? Sure do. I sure have. I think we all have, if we want to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's about, once you have that feeling, once again, are you sitting in it? Are
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
wallowing in it? You know what I'm saying? That's what makes the difference. But that's also why it's important to seek out a therapist, which it's
Yeah.
not a taboo thing. I remember at one point in time, it was deemed as a very white thing to have a therapist, or something's really wrong with you. You got a therapist. I remember. I remember my mother when I first went to therapy some years ago. I was like, I had to go see a therapist because I was so whatever. My mother said, ah, she said, you're seeing a psychiatrist. And I said, there's a difference between a psychiatrist and a therapist, ma'am.
Mm.
Like, she said, oh, you need a straight jacket. You need to go a pad room. You have a padded room. And I was like, that's not what, like, I remember my dad laughed at me for going to therapy. Like,
Mm.
mocked me for it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember like we had gotten into it, and my dad was like, well, you can go talk to your therapist about it. And it was like, oh,
Mm.
so it's Yeah, it's a needed, it's mental health, especially in the Black community, is very important because, and one thing that I have to make mention of is that the stigma around Black men and mental health is in hell. And I
Yeah.
need us to do better. One of the things that really bothers me, and one of my girlfriends had pointed it out to me, women have to stop calling men, especially Black men, sassy because
Mm.
he wants to have boundaries, because he has, we praise women all the time. Boundaries, queen. Yes, yes, you're setting your limits, whatever, whatever. But as soon as a man has some kind of boundaries, he's sassy. You know what I'm saying? As soon as a man expresses, especially a Black man, expresses their emotions or they express some level of vulnerability, it's excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Black men have one of the highest suicide rates in the country. Black men have the highest levels of emotional distress because they're not given that safe space to really express their feelings and their emotions. So, like, I really hope that more Black men, and I've been seeing it, I've been seeing more Black men have been investing in therapy. And I'm just like, yes, go Black men, Black, give me the Black boy joy. We want the Black boy joy. But we can't expect them, Black men, to give us that Black boy joy in return if we are not giving them that space to cradle and hold their emotions the way that we beg them to do. That's also a part of the mental health journey. You know what I'm saying? Being secure within your own emotions, that you can let somebody else sit in their emotions and you can just cover them and cradle them as they experience it. Yeah, that was a lot,
Well,
but
I know. First thing first. Thank you for sharing that. Mental health is very important, and I'm glad that you shared that.
Mhm,
And thank you for saying that about Black men, because that is definitely true. Thank you for that.
mhm.
And
Yes.
I do deal with mental health. I deal with anxiety. I deal with depression, and everything you describe about depression is exactly what I was dealing with.
Mhm.
So for that, thank you. And I like to share on this show now because it is very important, especially in the Black community. And yeah, I happy you shared that. Thank you. And I,
Yes, yes.
and I do agree. Definitely get a therapist. 'Cause I did got a therapist myself, and
Good.
it helped me, during the pandemic
Mhm.
days, and it also helped me with the show. So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Of
And
course.
it was a lot. But it was a lot of good information. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And yeah,
Of course.
oh, I hope that was a lot. So let's go to something more positive. That goes like
Okay, okay.
so, what is your dream venture? Something that you always want to do, but you never got a chance to do yet.
Um, I want to. So one thing I've always said, so I'm also a cycle instructor. I've always wanted to be a traveling cycle instructor. Like I've always wanted to travel around the country, and people be like, "Oh my gosh, Nique coming to our cycle studio!" Like, and they just be so hyped to take my class. So that's something I've always wanted to do, is do like a fitness tour and go to different cities and teach class for like a couple of days, and then go to the next city.
That would be dope. I mean, anything
Hmm.
possible.
Yes,
That'd be
it
dope.
is. It is.
That'd be dope. So, what other project that you got going on that you have not mentioned yet?
I have a couple of ebooks that I'm working on. I am working on a book to talk about some of the things that I wish I had like an auntie share with me, especially when it comes to relationships, health, friendship, all of that stuff. I think that one of the things, especially for women, and I can't speak from the space of other women, I can only speak from the space of Black women, is that our moms and our aunties do not talk about their downfalls in life, and or their lessons that they've learned. And I think that it's important for us as younger generations, and then the generation but even behind me, that they know, like, this is where I bump my head. And I'm telling you this so you don't bump your head and so that you can avoid the things that I went through. And I think that that's one of the things that I really want to achieve with writing this book. I am going to be speaking like out of with a few high school students in the upcoming week.
Mm, nice.
We're continuing the podcast. It's just life has just been such like a of things that I had to just take like a little moment to like catch my breath and like, figure things out. I am growing on the TikToks, and I'm hoping to get a YouTube channel started soon, because I know a lot of people have asked me about it, but it's more so people seeing my face and my antics and all of those things. I think that would help people to even understand like who I am on the podcast, because like I know people like they visualize like, man, what the hell is she back there doing? Or like I'll have episodes where like I can hear my mother upstairs on the phone. And I remember one episode I said, all right, y'all, my mom's on the phone, so y'all might hear her in the background. So, and that's before I learned how to do like the denoise and all of that stuff. So um, but yeah, I have a lot of things coming down the pipeline, a lot of great things. I'm just really excited to be in this better space of creativity. And that's like one of the reasons why like your mental health is important, especially if you're a creative, like even being a podcast host, people don't realize that that's a creative space. And we have to have a free flowing highway for that creativity to come out. So we have to have the clear enough mind so that we can imagine it, so we can think it, and then we have to have that clearness, or that so that it can come out in whatever way that we're being creative. But we got some things up the sleeve. We got some things.
And that is really dope. And I'm gonna say this early. I want to bring you back for a future episode of Mr. Gentleman, like the podcast, because I love the conversation you did today. And yeah, I love the whole mental health conversation. But yeah, I gotta bring you back in a future episode.
Yes.
And also bringing you back to we talk about the ebooks and stuff like that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I say that here early. I give you early. So what do you have to say for everybody that goes the same route as you? Say something inspirational, like being a personal trainer, the podcast. Say something inspirational.
You are the subject matter expert of you. You are the subject matter expert of you. And that's from my soror, Brittany Williams. And that I hold on to that because nobody really knows you like you do. So don't try to run from who you are. You know you. You're the subject matter expert of you. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, this is the way it is, or this is how you should be living, or you should be doing. You know you. You know how you move. You know how you flow through this world. You know how your body is supposed to feel. You know the way that your body moves. You know all the things that you experience. Don't let nobody tell you that you don't experience those things. And don't let anyone tell you that your experience is not valid, because it is.
There you go. And that is a good message. So before you go, we're gonna play a segment game.
Okay.
Called 5 Random Topics. Where I ask you five random topics. It could be a long response or a short response.
Okay.
And I will be joining with you on this as well. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So the first question is, what was the last movie you saw in the movie theaters?
Oh my. Oh, what was the oh, okay. It was oh shit. I know I've been to the movies since before Black Panther 2 came out. I know I've been to the movies before that. Oh my gosh. Not me drawing a blank. I have definitely been to the movies before Black Panther. Ah, damn. Oh. I just saw Wicked. I saw Wicked in November, December.
Yeah, okay, dope. So last movie I saw was Sonic 3.
Okay, I want to see that.
Yeah, I seen that in December. So yeah.
Okay.
It was really good. So I know you're foodie, because I am too. What was the last food that you ate?
I nibbled on some of this chili lime chicken thighs that I made.
Okay, dope. I mean, I didn't have much. I had cashews, but I'm about to eat soon, so yeah. So what is your comfort TV show? Like something that you could always watch?
A Different World. I love that show. Like, and I have to keep myself from watching it all the time, because I will. It's so many shows that's out on TV right now that I should be watching, that I need to be watching. Everybody's been talking about Paradise on Hulu. And I watch a lot of documentaries, but I would say what brings me comfort is A Different World. And if I was to choose a documentary, it would probably be Last Dance, the Michael Jackson, the Michael Jordan documentary
Oh yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
ESPN. When I say that, between that and OJ Made in America, those are probably two of the best documentaries I've watched.
Dope. That's dope. Me. I mean, not gonna, it used to be Degrassi. Used to be my
Oh,
comfort TV
not
show.
Degrassi. Come on, Wheelchair Jimmy.
Oh,
Oh.
I mean, yeah, he ain't the same no more. I don't know who that is now. I don't know who that is now. But nowadays it'd be like old school cartoons now, like the Flintstones, Jetsons,
Okay.
stuff like that. Yeah, I've been watching the old school cartoon channel now, so that been yeah. Oh shoot, that's funny. Okay, okay. What artist that you want them to come out with a new album who haven't came out with a new album yet?
So many artists. Frank Ocean, baby, please, please,
Mm.
please, 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 please. Or Big Sean and Janae Aiko, they had did an
Oh,
album called 2088.
28.
They need to come out with another one. Um, oh my gosh, who else should do another album, in my opinion? I would really love, and this is like a super blast from the past, if the Spice Girls came back and they came out with an album.
Mm.
No, if Destiny's Child came out with another album, like if they just gave us one more. Oh my gosh. But most definitely top of the key, Frank Ocean. I need another Channel Orange. Like Blonde did not bust down for me. I'm sure somebody that's listening is like, girl, what you talking about? Blonde is that girl. To me, it's not. Channel Orange, and there was a mixtape that he did when Novocaine had came out. He had a
Mm.
mixtape that had Whip Appeal on it. And you can only listen to that song on YouTube. But Frank, come on, man. Bring it back. Bring it back.
You know, you know what's crazy? Frank Ocean was actually my answer as well. Frank Ocean is actually,
Really?
yes, it was. I was just thinking about him earlier, like yesterday too, when I was making this question. I was like, yo, Frank Ocean need to come with a new album.
He does. Oh my gosh.
And
Like
yeah,
Channel Orange was so good.
that was a classic for real. That was a
Oh,
classic. I do listen to Channel Orange now. That is beautiful.
yes.
But also, I'm gonna say Outkast. I want Outkast to come with an album too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And they
Big
need
Boy,
to
R&B
do a
people. Yeah.
non-poppy album.
Mm.
Like like Future Speaker Box Love Below. It was
Oh
very
yeah.
poppy. I
Mm.
need them to give me a Aquemini energy. I need Stankonia type energy. Like I can't remember all the words to it, but Southern Cadillac play it. Like we need that. I need that Outcast.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I got one more. I'm gonna say Maxwell. Since he only come out with albums like every 7 years, he still got like five more left of that same series. So he only come up with two so far. So yeah, the summer the Black Summer Nights album.
That
Yeah,
was a good
it
album.
was it was
Mm.
especially
Mm.
especially the first one, especially the first one. So
Yes. Woo.
all right,
Mm.
so here my last one. This might be a little controversial
Okay.
due to right now. I
Okay.
Out of the three, who is your favorite out of the big three? Kendrick Lamar, Drake, or J. Cole?
You know what's funny is I was actually listening to El Varner blast from the past. I know some people probably sitting like, whoa, yeah, I haven't heard that in a while.
Back me either.
I was listening to El Varner and it was her first single.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
only wanna give it to you. I love that song. And J. Cole is on it. And I was listening to it and I said, this is the song where I fell in love with J. Cole. The way that he sang that hook at the end and laughed. Ah! But, but see, that's hard because I remember like when Drake came out with "You Wanna Be My Replacement, Girl."
Oh, you're back. That was like after the grassy, literally.
Oh my gosh. And then like Kendrick, oh, I'm not gonna front, I'm not gonna front, I'm not gonna front. If I had to choose, oh, okay, guys, please don't be mad at me. If I had to choose, I'm probably gonna choose Drake.
I figure. I won't be mad at you, but I
I
figure.
might have to choose Drake. It's just he just has so many bops. Like I was driving the other day too, and he has a song. I forgot what album it's on. It's probably on the one Take Care, but he has a song Come Through. Man, you can't tell me that's not a bop. You can't.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Ah, yeah, I'm gonna have to choose Drake. Sorry, guys.
I know. For me, you know, of course, I've been a kid. Always been a Kendrick fan. Way before the beef. Way before the beef.
Yeah.
One of my old coworkers introduced me back in 2011 with this song called "Spiteful Chant," and I've been a fan of Kendrick ever since. J Cole, J Cole always dope. I'm not gonna lie, he
Yeah.
always dope. Drake, first three albums really, and and probably certain songs after, but then now Drake no. No,
Yeah,
I haven't been,
I
yeah.
haven't listened to the new album, but like his first three, it's heavy rotation. But I think the one for me is the one where his head is in the clouds. I
Oh,
forgot that what that
nothing,
album.
nothing, nothing with the same.
Yes, nothing was the same. And Views, I just and Views came out during a musical year, 2016. My God, what a year of music that was. Views came out, Coloring Book came out, A Seat at the Table came out, Formation came out. It was a lot of music that year. But I have to say that his new stuff, eh, But the last one, I did listen to the last one, not the one with Certified Baby Daddy, the one before that.
Yeah. The Scorpion. I think Scorpion was before
Oh no,
that.
wait, maybe Certified Baby Daddy is on the one with the Too Sexy.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah, I actually like that album. It
yeah.
had a lot of like rock your hips type music on it.
But if I had to choose an order, Kendrick, J Cole, Drake. That yeah.
I would probably do if I was thinking more of like lyricist type stuff, Drake is at the bottom. If I look at it from a lyricist space, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
But Miss Nique, thank you for coming on the show. It was definitely a really amazing conversation. I really enjoyed
Yes.
myself, and thank you for sharing your stuff about health, sharing about the podcast, and many more. And I definitely got to bring you back for a future episode of Mr. Gentleman,
Yes.
like the podcast. And once again, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
And of course, before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you, and drop where everybody can listen to your podcast. This is your time.
So you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Hey Nique V, HeyNiqueV. You can listen to the Redefining Wellness podcast wherever you get your podcasts on whatever podcast streaming network is your favorite, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify to iHeartRadio to Good Pods to all of them. We out there.
Right, there you go. And oh yeah, by the way, I like the cover art for your podcast too. I
Thank
like the cover.
you. I made it myself.
That is dope. And once again, thank you everybody, and we'll be right back. I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning in to this latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Pocket TV. Thank you to my special guest, Nique, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. And check out our podcast show, Redefining Wellness Podcast. It's a really dope show. Check it out. It's really dope. And y'all know where y'all can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays, where we have shows like A Conversation, About Music Podcast, every first Thursday at 12 p.m., Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Mint Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m., and the Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. And look out for the newest spin-off series Thursday show, the Top 20 Countdown Show, the series with myself and Jalen coming this fall, a part of spin-off series Thursday lineups. You can check out Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pods, and many more. Or you can check out on our official website of Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast. Thank you for checking out this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast TV, exclusively on YouTube. Have a good day or night wherever you're watching this episode.